So I should let everyone know that I am here with Sarah Fejfar. Did I say your last name right?
You got it right.
Woohoo! Yay for me. So Sarah, please tell us, how did you get into events?
Oh my goodness. How did I get into events? Totally by accident. I accidentally fell into doing events. My company had some like shifting roles and people exiting the company, uh, and they needed an event planner. And because I was in the project management space, I got tapped, and then 16 years later, I'm still doing events and love them and think they're just about the coolest thing ever. I'm totally, absolutely passionate about events, whether they're live, in person or virtual or hybrid or all the things. I love gathering people. And I think when I think back to like my childhood, my favorite memories are when we would have people over for Thanksgiving once a year. My parents didn't they didn't host guests very often, if it ever. Like we just hardly ever had people over, but we did host a really big group for Thanksgiving every year, and it was always my favorite. And then in college, we were gathering. I was a residence hall advisor, so like I had like a floor of like 40 women, and I was always planning things for them. I can remember uh, planning an event where I had a, a resident's boyfriend was really good at pottery, and so he brought in like a bunch of pots, and we all like decorated them and had like pizza and just the randomest things. But I was just always creating like these ways for people to get together, and now, so looking back, I don't think it's by accident that I was kind of like stumbled into events, and that it's kind of always been there. It just took a while for me to figure out that that's what I was supposed to do on this earth.
So you've been doing it really your whole life, but you
Yeah.
just realized that's what you were doing when you became an event manager.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it turns out I was pretty good at it too. And so that helped. When you love it and you're good at it, I think that intersection is magical.
Did
Yeah.
the project management job help at all with what you're doing with live events now?
Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah, because events are really one big pile of things that need to get done. And then also I think part of the magic of doing them well is knowing the dependencies of like what comes first and next. And I do happen to have a knack for seeing what that path is pretty quickly. And so yeah, definitely I think, and that's why I think every every small business can feel confident that they can get an event pro inside of their business without growing their team, as long as they're starting with someone who has a knack for follow through and for managing projects. I really think that this is a trainable skill, and that small business owners shouldn't be afraid that they couldn't do it too. Um, and with the assets that they already have available on their team, someone just needs to be trained in. So
You can train follow through?
no,
Well, for
no,
me,
that's
success
my
is
caveat.
finishing what you
If
started.
if you're starting with someone who has follow through, I think we can get them there to be an event pro, because I happen to think follow through is kind of a really big deal when it comes to planning events. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I wanted to go back to your question about about like how I got started in events. And, you know, so I mentioned like our family's Thanksgivings, and then like being a residence hall advisor in college, and then, you know, falling into it in my corporate career. But what I didn't mention yet is I got introduced to personal development. I think pretty late in my life, but just about 5 years ago. And I got introduced to the concept that there are events out there that people can go to, that they personally pay to go to, and that they actually want to be at. And I know that sounds silly, but coming from the corporate world, everyone who's typically invited to the big internal events, like they're required to be there. For example, like a sales kickoff, they don't get a choice in the matter. It's just you know, our job as the planner to ensure that it sounds enticing and so enough that they, and you know, we do the right things, that they stay engaged once they're there. But so once I got introduced to that concept of events for like personal development, or just like learning about topics that you're passionate about as your hobbies, and that people go to these. I went to one myself, and it was the first time I'd ever paid to go to an event, and I was surrounded by all these other people who also paid to go there and also wanted to be there just like me, and were so excited to learn what was being taught. And the experience was transformative. uh, it was as if, you know, my passion for producing, you know, picturing, planning, and producing world-class events got collided with uh, an event model that really just like lit my heart on fire. And I was surrounded by all these entrepreneurs in the audience who were like, gosh, I want to do what the person on stage is doing, like, but with my own community. And I was like, well, gosh, I could help you. Like, I know how to do this. This doesn't like make me nervous in the least to make all of this happen. That would be like super exciting and fun. And yeah, and that's when I decided to start my own business, and and course to teach people how, and so to really help these small business owners who have this desire and this message, you know, the desire to impact more people, and this desire to get their community together so they can, you know, feel more connected and learn, you know, new things, get some new content, and just deepen that sense of community that they feel with the people in that group. And yeah, I was just like, wow, this is what I'm meant to do. Absolutely.
I can see the happiness in your eyes when you
Yeah.
speak of this. So when you went to that personal development event, did you find the project manager and like, how did you put this together? Because I want to do this too.
Well, so the event I went to was on personal development, but the person also trained on the concept of expert businesses, thought leader businesses, you know, and that was the first time that I was introduced to that concept as well. So I feel like that was meant to be too, that I was like learning from a coach who was able to speak not only to the personal development side of things, of just like the mental hurdles that you'd need to get over in order to become you know, a successful entrepreneur, but also the tactics for how. Now, the seminar was not about the how or any of those tactics, but it was like almost like this little like nugget was like just dropped in the middle of a sentence, like, oh, by the way, you know, I also teach about this, but it's at, you know, this other seminar. And I was like, what? I need to learn more about that. And so I'm crazy enough to then have gone to their very next seminar that was all about the business side of how to run, how to become an entrepreneur as a thought leader, creator, expert, sharing your wisdom. And that's when like all of the light bulbs started to go off that, oh, okay, so that's how I would help these people, and not burn myself out by doing all of their events for them. It's more like teaching people to fish. Yeah.
Understand that.
Mhm.
So when you heard that golden nugget, did you pull out your phone and look it up right away?
Yeah.
I would do that too.
Yeah, no, actually, the first time I think I wrote in my notebook and I circled it and I was like, I need to, come back to this. And then I think it must have come up like one or two other times. And I think during that same like weekend. And by then I was like either standing in line at their, support registration desk, or on my phone, like looking it up and figuring out like, okay, I think I had tickets before I left to the next one, before I left that one. Yeah. And then the one after that, and then I couldn't get enough once I started like just being in the room with like-minded people, and just learning that there's other ways of doing things, whether it be, like how you work or where you live. Just being surrounded by that caliber of people who are thinking differently. Then I went to a third event that fall. So after I went to the personal development one, then I went to the one about how to start a thought leader business, and then after that I went to one to kind of conquer my biggest fear, which was just speaking. And I went to a 4-day like how to be a world-class speaker training. And so just, yeah, started the snowball rolling. I'm definitely one of those extremely driven people. So once I lock in on an idea, or something I want to make happen, it happens. Follow through is very high for me. I was
I
just
believe
doing
it.
some personal development, personality tests last month with a coach, and he definitely, his eyes like got wide when he saw my score in the follow through category. Yeah, I just think it's how things should be. Like it's just it's how I've always been. It's how I'm wired from birth. But it turns out not everyone not everyone is high on follow through. But that's why I mentioned that at the beginning of our chat today, is I do think that every business owner can feel like they can get an event pro on their team without growing their team, as long as they have someone that we can train up, that is starting from a place of like, yep, I know how to follow through. That's what I do. Yeah.
For me, I really believe that success is finishing what I started. So yes,
Mm,
follow through is very important for me. So
I love that.
when you're getting together your event team and you have that one person with the follow through,
Mhm.
how many more people would you need on your team? Or
Oh
would that
gosh,
one just do?
it really depends. It really depends on the size and scope of your event, for sure. So yeah, I don't have a right answer, because you could do everything with one person, but you might need 100. It really depends on what you're trying to pull off. I'd love to know what the number of people. I can't wait to. I want to volunteer someday when Tony Robbins goes back to in-person events, because once you've gone to one of his seminars, and I haven't yet, but then you can start volunteering. And
Nice.
the event planner in me wants to just volunteer to see how a well-oiled machine like that would run, and how many people it takes, and how they subdivide all of the jobs, because I know there's a lot of jobs. But I know not everyone's going to start at that scale, right? But I'm just like constantly a learner, And I think that there's stuff that we can learn from absolutely everyone who's doing events. And even if they're using 100 people to put on their event, and you may only need one person to put on your event, or 10, I think we really can learn from every event that's happening. There's something we can pick up. And so
That's
like
true.
watch the Olympics with you know an eye and an ear towards, ooh, what are they doing that I might want to emulate in an event, or might want to teach. It really, your inspiration for what level of team you need will come from the event that you attend that turns your head the most. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I always recommend that you have your head on a swivel when you attend or watch other events,
Yep.
because you will either see things that you want to emulate or things that you want to not make sure you not do.
I understand that.
Yeah.
One of my first questions I ask people when they're asking me for a consulting session, I ask them what have they been to a virtual summit before, and what was their favorite, what did they really enjoy about it, and do they want to repeat that experience.
Mm,
Uh,
yeah.
so
That's getting to the exact heart of yeah, what I was just what we were just talking about. Because yeah, I mean, I think you get a sense for how you want to care for people by how you're cared for at other events.
yeah.
I'm watching this series right now on Discovery Plus by Magnolia. I don't know if you're familiar with Chris or with Chip and Joanna
Joanna.
Gaines, but they just put out a whole bunch of edutainment on the Magnolia Network that's phenomenal. And there's this series that I'm watching right now called The Lost Kitchen by Erin French. And she is magnificent at this, having an eye for caring for people when she's hosting these small dinners that her restaurant is famous for. And yeah, if you watch that series, if for nothing other than to pick up on how is she thinking about caring for each and every one of her guests when they kind of come into her sphere, and it's so beautiful. And I think that's a great place to start from when you're thinking about, like, to answer your question about how much team you need, is like, well, what's your vision, and then how many people do you think that you would need in order to carry that out with excellence, whether you're bringing in your mom, or you're bringing in a best friend, or you're having your whole team come to help, or you're hiring help. It's a like, help is available, and it's just about getting creative once you've decided kind of what kind of help you need.
Yeah. Um, Customer service is very important to me. Like if I'm at an event, even if I'm in a Zoom meeting, or I'm in an actual building, if I ask for help, I'm going to want someone to help me. I'm going to want someone to give me some of their time and show me where I need to go, or answer a question for me. Yeah. So customer service, very important.
Yeah, it's big for me
Um,
too. It's kind of a hot. I can sense myself getting like unsettled. Something I'm trying to work on when there's bad customer service.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause, sometimes I feel like if you didn't feel like being at work today, why are you here?
Right. I try to point out to my kiddo when we're out and about in public, and uh, I'm like, can you tell how much that person loves their job? Like, can you see like how passionate they are, how much they love what they do, by how they just, like, how our interaction was with them. and she'll, agree. And I think it's good to have uh, that little radar for, and then just even call people out, for just like, just loving on you and being caring and just being super helpful. Because just, we need more people like that in the world.
I like that you guys are aware of that. It's just nice to see that someone likes what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can really tell from you how happy you are talking about what you do. It's like I see joy in your face when you talk about hosting events.
I do. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I was just chatting with a couple of people about who are also in the event business, and I was asking them, uh, what is your favorite moment in an event? And it always elicits such an interesting response. Um, Actually, I would love to ask you that question. What do you what's your favorite moment in an event?
Well, I've been doing a lot of online events. So my favorite is breakout rooms and Zooms or the lounge and air meet. Just meeting, talking with strangers on the internet. Yeah. Turns out strangers on the internet aren't bad. They're actually really helpful.
Yeah, no, it is the funniest thing that yeah, we think we're all strangers, but when we go put ourselves in proximity with like-minded people, we find that we're probably surrounded by friends that we just haven't met yet and not strangers, right?
Yep. I met you at an event, or we were at the same event, and that's how I got into your course. Your course is amazing, by the way. If you had three more courses, people would be looking up the other courses, trying to hang out with you more and do what you do. So, yeah,
Thank you.
Sarah is so generous with her information, and she does these walkthroughs that are quick, to the point, helps you find what you need. Her course also does the same thing, but if you have questions, I like that your customer service is amazing. I like that you help me when I have questions. I like that we went through your course and you gave us a time, your time, to answer those questions and talk about other event stuff while we're doing that. So, yeah.
It's a topic I love to talk about. Yeah, I want to see more people doing events. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Because I think if there was ever a case study for why we needed to do more of them, we just lived it, right? We're still
Yeah.
living it. People are craving community and connection and content, and they want to do it with like-minded people. And it's our jobs as event leaders to, take the reins and do the hosting,
Yeah.
even when we kind of wish like someone could do it for us, but it's our job, and let's give that gift to the people in our communities by gathering them. And I think if everyone thought long and hard about what's been on their heart for a long time ever since starting their businesses, it's definitely events like that. It's been, like part of the growth plan since day one to not only collect up a bunch of wonderful people, but then bring them together in a more intimate way, whether that's, virtual or in person. uh, people want it, and it's our job as the leaders to make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So you gave us, well, you gave me, and I'm going to post it after we finish. You
Okay.
gave a PDF download of, uh, I can't think of the name of it right now. And I've been posting it ever since yesterday. But one
Is
of the
it the
things,
I think it's was it the marketing must for events? Yeah.
yep, and filling seats, they're filling your live events.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Could you
And
tell us a little bit about the download and how do you
yeah, absolutely. So I think people kind of get in their heads about filling their event. It I you know and just so you all know, it's what most business owners like have the most angst about, whether they're just starting or they've been doing it for years and selling out their events. I think it's something that uh, most people worry about. So don't feel like you're alone or in that worry about how you're going to fill your event. But what I found after studying how the most successful entrepreneurs and thought leaders and experts are filling their events is it really boils down to making a plan and working the plan with consistency. And so the free download for you today will kind of walk you through what that looks like, and the things you must consider as you're making that plan. Things that make marketing an event just a little bit different than marketing a a product or service. Yeah. So I think you'll find it really useful, and excited for you to check it out. And definitely drop me a DM on Instagram if a question pops up while you're going through it. I'm happy to answer your questions.
really do appreciate you offering that PDF.
Yeah.
So your first event as or your promotion from project manager in your first event.
Mhm.
How did that event go?
Awesome.
That's great.
It
Because
was
you're such a good
outstanding.
planner.
Not to be like braggadocious or whatever, but it went really well. And I was I remember I was at that event, and it was in, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was in San Diego. And I was at the time I was living in Minnesota. Right now I'm in Oregon. But so I was living in Minnesota. It was the dead of winter, and I'm pretty sure the temperature change was like 80 to 100 degrees from where I was to living to where the event was. So I was just like standing outside in the line for dinner at the buffet, and just like reveling in just how glorious like being transported when you go to an event is, on so many levels. And I ended up next to our company president, and uh, I remember saying something like, "Oh, I want this to go perfectly," and he was like, "Oh, something will go wrong. Like, you know that, right? Like, it's nothing goes perfectly." And I remember, it's just more in how you handle it, right? Um, and I remember I was planning my wedding at the time, and I was shocked. Like, this was above the fold, like front page news, that an event wouldn't go perfectly and that something would go wrong. And I instantly started to panic, like, oh no, what's going to go wrong with my wedding? Uh, but I think that's one of where the start of one of the key pillars in my program, Live Academy, is comes from is like prevent problems before they're problems. And we really dive deep into how and what that looks like, because it's possible to avoid uh, a lot of the bad stuff from happening. You just kind of got to know where the landmines are going to be, and avoid them. So yeah, no, I just thought that was a funny story that has stuck with me since I started way back when.
I would have been like, don't say something's going to go wrong. Don't jinx me.
Right.
So, when the event happened, did anything go wrong? Were you already prepared for it and that's why it was awesome?
Oh, oh, yeah. So at that event, we had this is just crazy, but we had meticulously pre-made binders for everyone at the event, and the level of detail in which we personalized these binders, and this is back when you printed things for events, but was over the top. And so we pre-packed them before we went to, I mean, to the point where, like, all their drink tickets were like pre-printed with their name, and they had like a personalized like breakout schedule, like with their name and their schedule, like in one of the pockets of the binder. Like everything was personalized to them. Their name was on it, all this stuff. And then we pack them all in these boxes, and we get to the event, and we open up all the boxes, and I had been super retentive, and I numbered all the boxes. So I, like, 1 of 20, 2 of 20, and then also what part of the alphabet was in each box. And we got there, and opening them all up, and we get to this one, and all the boxes were there because of my like crazy numbering system. I knew that they were all there. But one of them did not have the binders in there. It was filled with sweatbands, like the kind from like a 1980s like fitness video, like the big wide like terry cloth ones for your wrist and your head. And what is going on here? I did not put these in here. It's clearly been like opened and retaped. So thankfully we had extras on hand, and we had like duplicated all the printables, so we had like 2 of everything. And then we also had extra of these like fancy like leather binders that we had used, and or pad folios. And so we were able to like pivot and fix it like very quickly because we had planned ahead. But it still was making me shake my head and laugh. And then we had planned a like a dress up, like themed kind of dance one of the nights. And so we definitely broke out the sweatbands for that. Some people use them as part of their costume. So all was well.
That's great. It really worked out. I'm
But
thinking those binders must have been amazing
they
if
were,
somebody wanted them.
but like, how would they even know what was in the box? And then I don't, you just can't even make that up. It's just so crazy.
I'm just like, they had to be, if not, they didn't take the box. They traded something
Yes,
for the binders.
yes.
So yeah.
Wow.
It's not just opening. It's like, oh, binders. But they took the time to find out what was in it. It's like, I'm keeping this.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's yeah, it's not the only time where, like, when something printed, having a backup on hand, whether you're physically printing it and having like a duplicate set on hand, or having access to, like, ready access to the original files so that you could run to a like a copy center. Yeah, it's not the only time that came into play, and was like me having that kind of foresight to plan ahead, have that become really useful. Yeah.
Good. So do you have like a favorite online printer or a favorite local printer that you were using, or?
No, I don't, because they're all ridiculously expensive and overpriced, and I find it yeah, horrible to have to use like an on-site local printer in a pinch. And perhaps I'm generalizing, but it's always very expensive to fix one of those problems. So we used to have a print house like in-house at the company I worked for, and they were very reasonably priced. So it almost made sense, even though we were killing trees, to duplicate things before we left, and come with a couple sets of the most important things, so that we didn't have to incur super high printing fees on site. But that's not to say that I didn't do it many times. Yeah. Do you have a favorite printer?
Yes. As a graphic designer, favorite online printer is Zoo Printing and or For Over. Um, my favorite local printer here is I can't think of the name right now. If you were here in Spartanburg, South Carolina, I could take you over to Church Street and show you where the building is, but I can't remember the name of it. Southeastern Printing. That's the name of it. Yeah. They are really great customer service. That's why I love them.
Mhm.
I can call them at the last minute, ask them for something, send over a file, and then call me a few minutes later. It's like, come get it.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love having a favorite local printer, but having an online printer can be just as helpful. It's just that I gotta wait for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think yeah, we touch on that in the program as just the power of partnering with the right vendors, because I think in an event scenario, it doesn't matter if it's virtual or in person, having vendors that you can count on is so important. It's almost as if you're placing your life in their hands with some of them, because of the tight turn times, and the importance of hitting deadlines and it being done right and done well. And uh, that was always awesome for me to have like a curated group of vendors that I trusted. And I think that it doesn't happen overnight, but it's something that over time you'll collect up your A team, and it'll be so worth the work of figuring out who are your people, and just know that like you'll find them, and it's worth like keeping going, because like I feel like they're an extension of our team during an event scenario.
It's
uh,
true.
yeah. Hmm.
I want to be someone's go-to partner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like to have like I'm sure if you had like your preferred vendors list and just affiliate links and you had sent it out, I'm sure you would rack up just from that because I trust and believe what you say. I know that you really truly enjoy what you do, and to
Hmm.
have it work out and be so well, you got to have good vendors. Do you have a vendors list with affiliate links?
I don't. I
You
don't.
definitely should, and send that out.
There's my takeaway.
There's when I was in your program, I gave you a lot of tech. I'm going to give you one more. It's called mylunchstash.com. It's free. All you do is you put all of your affiliate links in there and it'll make you a list. And you can chop up that list. Like if you have a list for, like I have a list for events and it's all my no code products. I have a list for repurposing events and it's all no code stuff. So if you have your list, you can chop it up into any little package you want and you can name it and you send it out.
What a great
I'm
idea.
sure that people would pay you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, because it does take time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's free.
Well, I
Please,
mean,
try it out.
collecting up the resources takes time.
Oh,
So if you can shorten your curve by just asking somebody, and that is a tip. Like if you already know somebody is in the business of doing events, just like you want to be doing them, uh, I definitely would encourage you to ask for their list of people, because yeah, then it'll
oh,
like make your you know speed to market that much faster.
yeah.
Hmm.
You said earlier, be with like-minded people. So in your course, it was a lot of like-minded people, everyone sharing very generously, by the way. Oh, would you tell us about your course? Is it still available?
Yes, yes, it is. If you go to my website, sarahfejfar.com, perhaps you could just drop my website in the show notes. There's a page that describes it, and you can hop on the wait list there for the next time that we invite students in. But yeah, it's a program that is designed to, I didn't make it as an event because there's there's so much in there, and there's so many exercises to do, not only by yourself, but also with team, if you have a team, that it just felt like it made sense to give people like the time and space to do it on their own schedule. And I also know that every event has its own schedule, and so I didn't want people to have to wait like a whole nother year to come to an event in order to get the information they need. So it is something that you can do on demand, but it also comes with the accountability and live support that I think when 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 you're at this stage in your business where you're established and you have an established community and established cash flow, and you're ready to kind of go to the next level and start events in your business, I think you're kind of over courses, and I know that's where my headspace is at. But you do still want access to that kind of level of depth of information and tools that are available inside of a course, and that's no different with Live Men Academy. But I've paired it with uh, support the entire time you're inside of the course on a weekly basis in office hours, I call it, so that you can just pop in, and anything that you or your team is struggling with or has questions about, you can get answered. So I love that accountability piece and just like the availability of support. And then just for ongoing access to the community, and then also continuing to like learn and grow, I added on 12 months access to our membership, which is called Backstage, where once a month you get access to a new training, and just to kind of continue to level up your skills. And I know that a lot of people at this level and stage in their business are like, well, Sarah, I don't want to be the one who does all the things with the event. Like, I want to know what it is that's supposed to be happening, like what world class like looks like in each of these kind of areas of an event. But like, I have a person on my team that I really kind of have in mind that is going to kind of take this ball and run with it on behalf of our company. And I say awesome and great, like bring them along. And so I just wanted to be generous and add an additional like course login, or even two for the your VA or your project manager on your team, so that they can go through this with you. They can show up for office hours on your behalf, ask questions, and so we can just kind of like keep you in a state of momentum. Like I always say, like the best way to like not to get into a state of momentum is to not tolerate being stuck. And that's why I wanted to have like this office hours, and then also access to monthly group coaching on new topics that are kind of like fresh and up and coming in the industry, so that you can kind of stay on top of what's going on. So that's what's in there, plus a whole lot more. But yeah, just hop on the wait list on my site if you want more information, and I can get it to you.
Please do. The course was amazing.
Thank you.
If you let me do it again, I would. Uh, so yeah. I mean, just hanging out with you, and we're talking about the things in the course, having the ability to talk with you and other like-minded individual. That's what made it for me. It was a community in itself, the office hours. So yeah.
Well, I think anybody who's crazy and wonderful enough to take on that leadership role of bringing people together is just kind of like a kindred spirit, and I think you were feeling that when we just get people like that together who from all different industries, serving all different types of people, but we still all have that spark of wanting to make a bigger impact and wanting to take on that leadership role and having that vision for how to care for people that come into our sphere, be it virtually or in person. There's just a lot to talk about and a lot of resources that we can share with each other, and so that's why I love kind of the live event leader community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was amazing. So, what's next for you? What's coming up?
Well, I'm starting a free training series soon. So excited about that. And yeah, hopefully back to school in the fall for my kiddo. And then definitely more adventures here in the Pacific Northwest, because that's kind of what I'm all about, is creating a lifestyle that includes more adventure. I kind of treat my family and personal life just like I do events, and I usually make kind of like a friendly Friday reminder, and even though it's Thursday, I'll make it here to my community that you need to be as intentional with your family and friends, in terms of like taking on a leadership role and creating the experiences and making the magic happen for them, just as you would in an event scenario. And we have that opportunity every single day, or for me, it's like every weekend, to make magic happen, and it just doesn't happen on accident. It's so very rare. It really is. And I think, if you're hanging out with us right now, this too, that the magic that happens inside an event, like that was orchestrated, and you do the same for your family. And so I'm big on that. So yeah.
It's nice.
Hmm.
It makes them think that you care.
Yeah, no, and that's how you want your community to feel too. It's just that you care, and make them feel seen and heard. And then I think if you can accomplish that, you've won, you're successful, you've accomplished what you need to do, and know that it can be done on any budget, really.
Yeah, caring is also a good part of customer service.
Absolutely. Hmm.
So, do you have a group right now that we can come and join and hang out with you? Like somewhere on the internet, can we find you?
Yes, my preferred place for you to come and hang is on Instagram. It's just at Sarah Fejfar, Fejfar. And I can direct you from there. I do have a Facebook group as well, if
Okay.
that's your jam, more your jam. But yeah, Instagram is where I'm hanging out most days.
What do we get when we hang out with you on Instagram?
Well, I usually show up live, and then you can have an opportunity to ask questions. But then you'll probably in my feed find like videos, just like small tips and tricks to kind of help get you over the minor hurdles. And then I do talk mindset a lot, because I think right behind filling an event, mindset is the next biggest thing that business owners who are starting and scaling events in their business struggle with, is mindset. And so I spend a lot of time talking about that on Instagram as well, because uh, I don't want what's between our ears to get in the way of serving and making a bigger impact and helping the people that need our help. Yeah.
Understand that.
Hmm.
Sarah, I'm not gonna keep you too much longer. Everyone, Sarah got up at what was it, six in the morning to do this interview. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, you're
Oh,
welcome. Happy to. Yeah.
hooray.
You just added so much value to our group, when you were inside Live Event Academy, and just was more than happy to do this for you.
Hooray. Live Event Academy was amazing. So I do hope that I know there's a waiting list, but if you could offer it like 4 times a year, that'd be great. I know that's a lot of work
Oh,
because
I think I'm working on a way to make it available, probably even more than that. So
oh, okay,
it's in progress. Yeah.
good, because I am a fan and I will tell anyone who asks me about it that they need to join and hang out with you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you for your time.
Oh, you too, Erica. It's been a pleasure, and make it a great, outstanding weekend. And I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
All right.